We've been doing movie nights for
years.
So Gen Xer and
A Gen Z. Random weird moments that the two of us have experienced, and there are a lot of those.
And he crashes them.
As you do.
It's like, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, where did this come from? Why are we singing?
I mean, you're not going to learn anything about the movies listening to us talk.
This is the Argo City Podcast. Film, conventions, and fan life with Maddie and Matthew.
Okay, so I've got a weird little thought experiment I want to do with you real quick.
Okay, that's a suspicious way to start an episode.
So, imagine that you're on a ship at sea, and suddenly you hit an iceberg.
What are we on, the Titanic?
Well, it's smaller than that, but the good news is the iceberg is actually like right near a tropical island.
Oh my!
Like an island that has all the food you could ever eat. The water's clear; it's not salt water, so you can drink it. So you are off on the lifeboat, but you can only take 5 movies with you.
Oh God! Oh goodness!
So what are those 5 movies?
Okay, hang on. I gotta think about this. Huh?
They have an infinite library, and the island also coincidentally has infinite power.
Maybe like the first Harry Potter movie? Probably the second Hunger Games movie.
Yeah, I know. I see those too. I get that. Like this is the last stuff you got to watch for the rest of your life. So,
sorry, this is hard. I don't watch movies. I watch shows.
Well, for me, if I were to give you my top 5 favorite movies, the ones that I'd want to be stranded on a desert island with, so they would be, it'd be The Maltese Falcon. You watched that with me. That's Humphrey Bogart's black and white mystery.
Yeah.
Breakfast at Tiffany's. At some point, we need to watch that.
We do need to watch that again at some point.
You haven't seen that,
or
at
not
all.
Again. Sorry, I mean we need to get around to that.
The Fisher King.
I think I've heard of the book of that.
You've watched that. That's about the radio DJ, the homeless man who thought he was being pursued by the Red Knight, and they have to go and find the Holy Grail.
Oh yeah, that really weird random movie.
Terry Gilliam would be so flattered, but no, we have watched The Fisher King. It's a Robin Williams movie. Also, most of the time, I switch in between either Oz Great and Powerful or...
Oz Great and Powerful was very good.
It was very good. Sometimes it's that, and other times it's High Fidelity, which you haven't seen yet.
No, I don't recognize that one.
The other one on my list is Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, this one always kind of threw me off, that it was one of your all-time favorite movies.
I can't even begin to tell you how fundamental, how essential this is to me, how big of a deal this is to me. So it's not just like the fact that we're going out and buying Stitch plushies or my jacket or something like
my mother wearing full-on Stitch gear at her work, to the point where the children call her the Stitch Lady.
We went to Disney World, and oh my God, I was so upset that Stitch wasn't there.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he wasn't there the day we were on.
Thank God we were there for a week, and we could go back.
Oh, I remember that, because we'd walked up to it, and like the whole ride was shut down, wasn't it?
I was so upset. I don't
even remember us going back around to meet Stitch, to be honest.
We did. In fact, he spotted me in line. And like the rest of you got normal Mickey ears or Minnie ears.
Yeah.
I got Stitch ears. I got a full Stitch, like half a head.
It's like biting down on him with like the teeth marks and such. It's adorable.
And the actor in the Stitch suit saw me, like clapped, pointed, and was like so excited to see me. And it was great. It was great.
I don't remember a word of this.
See, I saw this movie though in the theaters. I saw the animated one in first run at the drive-in. I don't even remember what the second feature was.
Was it like the drive-in that we went to see Jurassic Park at? Or
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Autorama. That's local to us in North Ridgeville. So that's where I remember actually seeing it first. But it just, it made an enormous impact on me.
Huh.
So this is always my list of like my top 5 has basically remained the same for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, even though this is going out much later, we wanted to give the movie a chance to hit the theaters, get a good box office opening weekend, but we saw it in advance.
Yeah, my mom got our mom got tickets for the movie, so we got to go see it early at one of those like fancy theaters, which was cool.
Yes, we got an advanced screening at Phoenix Theater, reclining seats, which you needed because we were right up front.
Yeah, for some reason they like sold way too many tickets, and they were like we couldn't get into the first room, so we had to go to the second theater, and then we had to sit on the bottom, and then like we had to tilt our seats back all the way because you couldn't really see anything.
Like you literally needed earbuds.
Oh, I have very sensitive hearing, so I can't handle that much noise. So I had to put my earbuds in, and I had to like pull them out every time you'd whisper something in my ear.
And the seats were rumbling on us.
That was cool.
Man, we should have. I wish you could have seen Tron like that.
That would have been so cool.
But we got to see Lilo and Stitch, the live action remake, on the 20th instead of it came out on Friday the 23rd. And I released my blog. I did my article up on it the next morning. So if you head over to Argo City Comics at WordPress.com, you'll find that as well. But I did spoiler free.
Yeah.
So we watched the movie. We drove home talking about the movie.
Yeah, I abandoned my mother and sister and joined you in the car so we could talk.
And then the next night, tonight, we sat down and we watched the original animated as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about it all. First and foremost, like, tell me what you liked about it.
About the new one?
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that were very interesting to me. One of the things that I immediately latched on to is the whole situation with Nani and the social worker. Last semester, I took a class on Intro to Social Work, and that was one of the things that we covered heavily in that course. So I'm sitting here, and I'm like trying to see things from like the social worker's perspective, and I'm like, the moral dilemma here is insane. And
it is.
Like, I just like, because like you can tell the social worker is like, is on her side. She's like, I want to help you. I want to keep this girl with you. But at the end of the day, if you can't change things, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
And that's pretty realistic compared to what I've learned about and what I've seen.
Yeah. No, and fun fact, the social worker is Tia Carey, who's Nani in the original anime.
Yeah,
I love that.
You were really excited. You were trying to tell me that during the end credits, but I had my earbuds in and I couldn't hear you over the music and such.
But it's also weird because they've kind of split Cobra Bubbles into two people, into Tia Carey's social worker and then the hardcore, almost militaristic Cobra Bubbles, he doesn't get quite as much characterization.
Yeah, not really.
But you know what? That whole social worker aspect too. It's so much more dire in this new live action movie.
Yeah. We are actively seeing her trying to find jobs, trying to find that. And a good portion of the movie just focuses on her and her struggle with that.
The live action movie is Nani's movie. It really is. And, well, I mean, she's an adult. I mean, she's your age. She's 19. But Lilo, as great as this actress is, she is a child. And it's hard to kind of squeeze some of the nuance out of a child actor that you need for this. Because that's the thing. In the cartoon, Lilo is a lot more complex.
She's a lot more quirky.
She is. Oh, man, is she. She's creating voodoo dolls and, like, my friends need to be punished. She's looking at Cobra Bubbles. Did you ever kill anybody? And, yeah, there's a lot more to her. She presents as a child, but the characterization's almost like a teenager. You get those complex thoughts. You get a lot of the weirdness.
I was going to say, like, the other things that I did really like about this one, at least about the new live action, we were talking a little bit about this in the car. Stitch is perfect. He is perfect in every single way he can be.
Yeah.
The animation, the character, the model, everything is perfect. They brought back the old voice actor to voice him, which you can't replace that, or else the fans would have rioted.
Yeah. I was worried about that too, because like the early images, they
looked horrible.
They were too monotone.
It was like a Sonic, like Sonic versus New Sonic.
This version managed to highlight like the light blue areas on him, around his eyes, around his belly. Mm-hmm. And he moved a little better. They plumped him up just a little bit. I never doubted it for a second. In fact, Stitch is the one thing in this live action movie that really is pitch perfect. It is absolutely, I get it. I look at him and I see Stitch.
Yeah.
In fact, I mentioned this in my blog article. Like, I'm one of 5 people in North America who actually really, really love the Garfield live action movie.
Which one? Aren't there 2 of them?
There are. Well, both. But it gets panned and it gets dunked on all the time. I love these movies. And the translation of Garfield from cartoon, comic strip to CGI, semi-real character, I really liked it. And some of that's the voice actor, some of it's the characterization. It's everything that you love about Stitch here is what they got right in the Garfield movies. So Mom tried to sell me on this, by the way. She's like, no, it's just like what you like in Garfield. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want that. Nobody is asking for this. And she's like, but Mom is right. It's just like they did that good of a translation. It's perfect.
It's perfect. It's just out of order.
It is. And they've reconfigured and rejiggered some stuff to fit their new storyline. And new storyline is even unfair to say. This is very much the same story.
Yeah, with a few minor tweaks.
Right. We've eliminated some characters.
Oh my god.
We've added characters. But yeah, like, I miss Gantu. And everybody asks me.
How can you get rid of Gantu? He's like the best part of the movie.
Everybody's been asking me, wait, are you telling me that Gantu's not even in it? I'll tell you something, though, that I noticed.
Yeah?
Watching the cartoon. Gantu shows that he's big. He's got a really
he's very
important part at the very beginning. And then he doesn't show up again for an hour.
That's true.
I didn't even notice that until this time around watching. So maybe it's because we've attached him so much in the series. I don't know. He vanishes, though, for the bulk of the movie. So maybe I understand the thinking here.
I certainly don't agree with it.
No, I don't, because here's the thing. And we are going to spoilers here. The movie's been out for a little while.
Yes, spoiler alert.
They decide that Jumba, the mad scientist, he's going to be the bad guy here. Now, I mean, he's the bad guy in the animated. But
you can't... No.
At the end of the animated film, Jumba takes a heroic turn. Stitch talks him into going and rescuing Lilo.
Will you help me? Sure. Are you just letting him go? Yes. He's very convincing.
And, yeah. See, this is the thing. Lilo and Stitch is all about redemption.
Yeah.
It's all about redemption. And it's not just Stitch. Lilo kind of finds her own redemption there. Nani finds her own renewal, her refreshing there. Mm-hmm. The burden's lifted off of her. Yeah. Jumba is redeemed in that moment. He turns into one of the good guys. Whereas in the live action movie, he actually takes a heel turn. He turns into one of the bad guys. And I don't want that. I want to see his redemption arc too.
Yeah, because like in the animated series, he's evil, yes, because he's passionate about his invention. He wants his invention to do what it was created for.
He's evil in the same way that I'm evil. That, I'm not necessarily a good person, and I really like loud evil music and skulls and stuff like that. And I decorate the house for Halloween even more than I do for Christmas.
That is very true.
But on the other hand, I kind of want to do better. Stitch fully embraces this idea of Ohana. No one gets left behind or forgotten. At the very end, he blasts up. He rescues Lilo. And Lilo's like, you came back for me. No one gets left behind.
Yeah.
But Stitch is right. No one gets left behind. Not Lilo, not Stitch, not even Jumba and Pleakley.
Mm-hmm.
They still find a purpose and a home with him. And we are robbed of that by turning Jumba into the bad guy. It's one of those things, it bothers me.
And I'm going to kind of jump on here as well. With Jumba and Pleakley in the new live action movie, I found it really hard to enjoy their presence there. Like, for part of the movie, they're human, though they do keep them alien most of the time. I miss the cross-dressing. I miss the funny disguises. I miss the banter between the two of them. We don't get, like, any of that.
You know, you are right about, they're not
as characterized.
Close. They're not friends. Like,
no.
Pleakley makes the joke at the beginning. Oh, look at those two guys. We're going to take their forms because they look like they're best friends.
Like, they're actively trying to fight against each other to capture this monster one way or the other.
It is a much more hostile relationship.
Exactly. And, like, I get that they can't, like, be super hostile because it's a Disney movie, even though it is a Disney movie. But, like, still, you lose all of that. We mentioned this when we were watching, but in this new live-action movie, you lose all the name-calling. You lose all of the violence.
You lose all of the violence. You know, how much violence do we lose? Because, let me, like... Even the silly violence, like at the end, Jumba fashions a ninja star out of bathroom stuff, toothpaste,
like a hairbrush,
and throws it at them. That's silly, weird, funny violence. We don't get that.
No.
You notice that in the live action movie, Jumba's carrying the big gun that he's carrying is a portal gun.
Yeah.
But the small gun that he's carrying, well, he's shooting darts at Stitch.
Yeah.
In the animated series, he's shooting lasers.
That's
plasma.
I didn't realize that. Oh my god.
We've lost the violence there. Jumba talks in the new movie about how, what do you mean fluffy? What do you mean cute? He's terrifying. He's got claws and teeth, and he's an aggressive life form, and he's terrifying. I beg to differ. In the live-action movie, Stitch is mischievous. By the way, I'm here for the mischievousness. This is one of the things I love about this live-action movie. All the new shtick.
All the new
shenanigans.
hijinks. Yeah, those are fun.
But Stitch is not scary at any point in this movie. In the animated movie, if you're watching through the first act, Stitch is frightening.
Yeah.
Stitch is angry and aggressive, and he brandishes those claws. He's got fists, and even at the luau, he chomps on Pleakley's head, and that's kind of horrifying. It's not as cute as you might think. And they don't tell in the animated movie.
Yeah.
And they're allowed to get away with a lot more, like you said, violence. They get away with a lot more name calling. Stupid head.
Mm-hmm.
They get a lot. Actually, the animated movie. This is what I keep seeing. The animated movie is fearless. The animated movie leans into, these are all brown people, and they've got funny accents. I mean, you have a real thick pidgin accent. And they're using the slang. How's it, cousin? So, oh, Lilo, what you, Lolo? Mahalo plenty. And we get a lot of the local... I feel more connected to Polynesian culture in Lilo and Stitch, the animated movie, than I do in the live-action movie. Live-action movie, it's static American accents.
Yeah, you don't really even get that whole Hawaiian vibe aside from, like, if you cut out the scenes of, like, her working on the...
At the luau?
Like, at the luau, if you cut out the scenes of them going to the water, I would think we're just in the middle of a small town.
Yeah. And the body types are all approved Hollywood body types. Look, I am a comic book artist. I draw my characters in heroic, idealized body types. The men are bulky and muscular. The women are slim and beautiful. And in Lilo and Stitch, if you watch the animated movie, these are very realistic bodies.
Yeah.
These are awkward legs, and there's Nani has a belly that hangs over her shorts sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Lilo she's a child.
Yeah.
She's got baby fat.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all there. I don't see any of that in the live action movie. Like they're scared. The animated movie is fearless with this stuff.
Yeah, I will just kind of jump ship here for just a quick second.
Yes.
As we were talking about Lilo. It bothered me that she wasn't in her iconic red dress for most of the movie. She always had, like, I get it. It's a live action movie. You can't have her wearing the same thing everywhere like you can get away with in an animated thing. But, like, they tried to disguise it like they'd throw on, like, a pair of overalls. Like, she's in overalls for a good portion of it with that red dress. But aside from that, you never see her in the iconic look.
Yeah, just once. Just once would have done
once
me.
with the red dress without anything on top of it would have been perfect. And like, I get it. They have her in like childlike clothes. And as we discovered today, she does wear like a different color. It's the same dress, but it's just yellow and green.
What? In 25 years or so, I've never noticed that before.
Yeah.
And I did today because I'm watching. Because I'm watching for the differences.
Yeah, and it's just like the little thing like that did bother me a slight bit.
I would have loved that. See, that's the thing that none of the live action characters quite looked right to me.
Yeah, I agree with you there. They just
Lilo and Stitch is such a stylized thing, though. Chris Saunders, who voices Stitch, I mean, he created a world, a vision.
Yeah.
Disney animated it then in his style, like his style of drawing. And his style of drawing is cartoony, and then everybody, like, they're overinflated, like blowing a balloon up just 2 steps too much, but a human. So they're just a little bit more inflated.
Yeah.
And watercolors everywhere for all the backgrounds.
Yeah.
And you just sink into this. And it's one of only 2 movies that Disney did this with. Mulan is the other one.
Really?
Really.
Mulan?
Mulan has a style to it that's not Disney house style. And that was one of my first thoughts with seeing live action Lilo and Stitch. How do you replicate that style? Well, you kind of don't. So
yeah,
people look kind of ordinary. Lilo is in this, she's just an ordinary kid. She's troubled and acts out a little bit. But she's not the quirky, adorable little psychopath that
we all adore.
Nani is frazzled and angry and worn out. But in the movie, Nani's more emotional. Let me ask you something. In the animated movie, this is something I noticed this time around. Did you see everything was more expressive?
That's what I was saying when it came to the live action movie. It felt like we weren't getting that emotion.
Yeah.
And I will admit, there was a scene towards I forget where it was. I think it was during the scene with them on the hammock, which did make me emotional. That one fit. But, like, you don't see the emotion through Lilo, which you can't blame the actress. She's just a kid. But, like, you don't get that. You don't get that, like, well, I keep repeating myself. You don't get that emotion.
Yeah. See, I love the actors in that movie. Like, I want a sequel to this live action movie that goes off in a completely original direction.
Yeah.
I could live with that. I would like that. Trying to replicate, though, this animated movie, to me, this animated movie, it is a perfect movie.
Yeah.
There's not a flaw here. It's a smart movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's smarter than the live action one. I think the wordplay is quicker.
Mm-hmm.
I think the live action one, I kept pointing this out to you. They homage jokes. They pull the punchlines from jokes because that's the funny part.
Yeah.
But they don't invest in the setup. So, the Grand Councilwoman says, yes, Earth is set aside as a mosquito preserve. We're rebuilding that species. And that's the last you heard of it. In the animated film,
it goes throughout the entire movie.
We keep coming back to
Even
it.
at the end, he says, yeah, we convinced them that we are rehabilitating mosquitoes. That's why they haven't blown us up yet.
Doll, Scrumph.
He's, like, everywhere.
Scrumph is, but she's just in the background. And you mentioned this. You asked me in the car, did we ever hear her name?
they mention her very offhandedly during one scene, like when Stitch first comes to her room. Like, don't touch that, she's recovering from surgery. And it's never mentioned again. We never see the doll again.
Right, but whereas in the cartoon, they set that up. Well, her head's too big because bug laid eggs in her ear. And she's swollen up now. And she's sad because she's only got a couple days to live. By the way, we see them perform the surgery on her later then.
Yeah.
When they turn her into a bomb.
That too, yeah.
Oops, looks like we are out of time, but you knew that was going to happen. Join us a little bit later this week for an Argo City Extra where we'll finish this conversation